Welcome to Write with Love. I'm your host, Sarah Williams, best-selling author, speaker, and creative entrepreneur. Each week, I chat to passionate and inspiring authors about their journey in creative writing. Some are traditionally published, some do it themselves. Everyone's journey is different, and everyone has something interesting to say. We all love love and love what we do. Today's show is brought to you by our amazing fans and supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to help support the show and get some awesome bonus episodes, go to patreon.com/Sarah Williams Author to learn more. Now here's today's show. G'day and welcome to Write with Love. Today on the show I'm chatting to Kate O'Keefe. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having me, Sarah. It's great to be here.
No worries. It's lovely to have a fellow Kiwi on the show again, and we'll talk all about New Zealand and your books in a sec, but I would love if you could tell us about yourself and your writing journey so far.
Sure. Well, I've always loved to read, and I wrote a lot as a child, as a teenager. I used to write plays as a teenager, which I would then act out to my family, which I'm not sure they appreciated, but I enjoyed it. Then I went to university, studied literature at university, thought that I would always read and probably write literary fiction, and then I met Bridget Jones, and she changed everything for me. And I moved on to Sophie Kinsella and Marion Keyes, and I realized actually you can read and it can be fun. Mm-hmm. And that really changed things for me. And I decided probably about 15, 16 years ago now, I thought, I'm going to give this a shot, and started writing. And I toyed with it for some time until about 7 years ago. My son was in preschool, kindergarten, and I thought, I don't want to go back to work, but I want to use my brain. Yeah. And that's when I started actually writing, and I wrote my first novel.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Wow. So chick lit and romantic comedies. I love it. So are you just a hilarious person? Like, I always think you have to be really funny to write romantic comedies.
Well, I laugh at my own jokes.
Oh, good.
So I hope so. I had one friend say to me when my first book came out, she said, I didn't realize you were this funny. Like, well, A, thank you, and B, you've got time when you're a writer. You can think of a joke and then you can finesse it, can't you? You can make it funnier. You can improve it. Okay. So, but I do like humour. I love humour in a romance. In fact, I find it hard to read a romance that doesn't have at least some humour, because I think a romance can take itself very seriously, and it often deals with quite deep emotions, and I like to have some depth of emotion in my books as well, but mostly I'm trying to entertain and make people smile. So a lot of reviewers say my books do make them smile. Some say they laugh out loud at them. Most of them say that they just have a good feeling with them, which is what I'm aiming for. Yeah, and I guess all of us as romance authors and authors with romantic elements, we have that element of escapism. We need to keep things relatively light, and we try not to go too deep. So yeah, definitely. Yeah. I went a little bit deeper with a book that I'm bringing out in April, on April the 11th, which is called, I haven't got the book of it yet, Making Cinderella. So that goes a little bit deeper because it's the Cinderella story. So it's a retelling of Cinderella, but it's set in New York, and she's a little snarky. She's a little millennial, and I love her for that. Yeah. But and the guy in it as well, the Prince Charming type, he has some deep issues as well. So I went a little deeper there, and that was a really fantastic challenge, and I enjoyed it, but I definitely enjoyed getting back to the lighthearted fun stuff too. Yeah, absolutely. And so what kind of heat levels are we looking at for people who are interested in yours? Are you sexy a little bit maybe? Well, my chick lit is definitely not very sexy. So if I could just talk about this book, for example, One Last First Date. This is my first ever Amazon bestseller, which was a lovely moment for me, which involved dancing around the living room and my husband looking at me like I was mad. That book has a closed door sex scene in it. And then the other books following that don't have any sex at all. So that is, the next one is 2 Last First Dates.
Love it.
And the one after that, guess what? It's 3 Last First Dates. And you'll never guess this one, but it's 4 Last First Dates. So they don't focus on the sex. They focus more on the characters, the main characters' psychological and emotional development, and they have romantic elements more than being a strict romance. So it's all from her point of view.
And that's the Cozy Cottage Cafe series, isn't it?
This is the Cozy Cottage Cafe series.
Excellent. Yes. So tell us about that series. Like, what's the premise and how did it all come about?
Well, how it came about was I was watching Married at First Sight. Married at First Sight Australia, to be specific, a couple of years ago, and I was like just enthralled with it. Like, I love it. So
hang on, wait. This is Married at First Sight a couple of years ago when it was still good and not all staged.
Television though, so it was, I was just watching, I was thinking, what a fantastic premise for a book. But I thought, obviously it's a TV show, it's a global TV show, I'm not going to write that. But it started making me think, what if you made a decision that the next person you date is going to be the one? If you're in that place where you want to have a permanent relationship, you want to make a commitment, a serious commitment to somebody, what if you decide that you're going to do that? How would that look? So I get a bunch of girlfriends on the beach in Auckland. A couple of bottles of wine later, they make the rather rash decision that the next guy they all date is going to be the one that they end up with. And that's the premise for all of these Cozy Cottage Cafe books. So each book follows one of the friends and their journey. And let's just say it's not very straightforward.
I bet. So it's a New Zealand-based book then. So it's in Auckland?
Yes, based in Auckland, and I chose Auckland because it's the city's largest city, the country's largest city even, so that gives it some scope for different types of jobs, different careers. I wanted it's all based around a cafe, the Cozy Cottage Cafe, where a couple of the girls work, and the rest of them just go in there and they eat a whole lot of cake. So there's a lot of cake. I've had a number of reviews from people who've said, wow, I've read these books and all I want to do is eat chocolate cake. And I used the beauty of Auckland, and most of the characters go elsewhere as well. So in book one Last First Date, they come to Hawke's Bay, which is where I live.
Which is also where I'm from, so go figure that.
Down the road, which we just found out, which is great. I mean, and as you know, Hawke's Bay is a really beautiful part of the country, and I'm very blessed to live here. So I wanted to show it off, and I've done that in a couple of books actually. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah. It's always great when you can talk about these towns that you live in or that you visited. I love that. No, that's awesome. So that's the Cozy Cottage Cafe. So how many in the series so far?
Currently I have 4 books in the series.
4.
With those tricky names of 1, 2, 3 and 4 Last First Dates. We've also got I'm writing the 5th book at the moment, which is not going to be a Last First Date book. It's actually named to be advised at a later date, but it's going to be a spin-off. So like Bella Andre does, not that I am Bella Andre, but I would like to be Bella Andre, how she starts with Sullivans and then she goes to another location and there are more Sullivans, etc. So it's going to be a little bit like a spin-off like that, but still part of the whole series where the girls keep turning up in each other's lives. So I like that continuity, and a lot of readers have said to me they like seeing the characters that were in, say, the first or second book turning up again. And I enjoy that too. So that's what I'm writing right now. Yeah,
it's always cool. It's like, your friends come back to visit and that sort of thing. You go, I remember you. I like you.
You can see whether they've had babies or still married.
Yeah.
They will be.
Okay. I was just going to say, what?
Happily ever after.
That's it.
So,
that's it.
Yeah,
we like happily ever after. So you also wrote a standalone, which is your last release, called The Right Guy, and you've got a cover for that.
Which I'll now hold up for you as Exhibit A.
Beautiful. Love the covers. Love your covers. I just have to say, love your covers. Look at that. Gorgeous.
So this book is not set in New Zealand. This is set actually in San Francisco and Cabo San Lucas, which is in Mexico. And I spend a bit of time in San Francisco because I have family there. But I decided I wanted to try something different, and I wanted to write a romance. So this was my first book I've written from dual point of view, dual point perspective, and writing a guy was so fun. I had no idea how fun it could be, just getting into a guy's head. My husband had to answer a lot of questions. Yeah, so it's would you like to know about the premise?
Yeah, tell us about it. Yeah.
So a cynical woman called Taylor it makes her sound terrible. She's cynical about psychics.
Yeah.
And her friend is encouraging her to see a psychic. They're out on a Sunday morning at Fisherman's Wharf. If you've been to San Francisco, you know it's kind of the touristy area. There's lots of restaurants and cafes and lots of things going on there. So she decides to appease her friend, and she goes in to see the psychic thinking, I'm not going to believe a word of it. Turns out the psychic knew about a number of things in her life, including about her grandmother, who she'd lost and felt very close to. And it made her sort of sit up and think when this woman, the psychic, says to her, you're going to meet the guy that you're going to end up with, and he's going to have green eyes and be wearing an orange shirt. And she steps out of the tent where she's seen the psychic, feeling like she's in a bit of a daze because suddenly she's realizing maybe this woman might be right, and locks eyes with her best friend's brother, who happens to have green eyes but isn't wearing an orange shirt. And that's the premise. That's what happens. And it's told from his perspective and her perspective.
Love it. Oh, sounds good. I do love it.
Fun book. Yeah.
Awesome. And you've also, so you showed us the cover of one of your Manhattan Cinderella, which I love the title, and is gorgeous. I just, again, covering B, so pretty. Yeah. So Fairy Tales in New York is that series. Tell us. Yeah, so moving to America now, getting into the Americans.
Yeah, well, I'm coming back to Auckland. I'm coming back to New Zealand with book 5 in Cozy Cottage. So I'm spreading myself geographically.
That's it.
So it's set in Manhattan, and I've been lucky enough to spend a fair bit of time in Manhattan. So yeah, even though my knowledge is a little old, so I'm spending a lot of time researching things. But I wanted to retell fairy tale stories with a new spin. So they both kind of need rescuing, but they both also do the rescuing a little bit. Again, it's a romance, so it's a dual point of view romance. And again, it was a lot of fun to write the guy's perspective. And of course, happily ever after. But it comes out on April the 11th. It's on pre-order right now on Amazon, and I'm excited about it. I'm really proud of this book.
And are there any glass slippers at the end?
There is a shoe, a very gorgeous designer shoe that is involved that helps us to meet. So it's kind of turned on its head a little bit.
Nice.
But there's no pumpkin.
Yeah.
There's no fairy godmother really. So, but there is some strong elements from the fairy tale.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds fantastic. And that's going to be a series as well?
It's the first book in a series called Fairy Tales in New York, as you said. The second book I'm planning is Manhattan Beauty, which is the second book in the series, and it's a retelling of Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, so there are 3 friends, and they all turn up in Manhattan Cinderella.
Yes.
Then I just tell their stories. The third one is plotted in my head, but nowhere else.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about that one right now.
No, that's really cool. I can just foresee, all these different. I love fairy tales, so I just think that's really brilliant. That's so well done. Why didn't I think of that? Damn.
Well, I think people are really attracted to it because it's you can retell something within a framework that's really familiar, and as long as you're bringing a fresh perspective, you're giving people something else to think about, and it's not completely predictable. Then I think it's fun. It appeals widely, I think.
It does. And I think a lot of the times when I am hearing them kind of retold, it's more the girl isn't needing to be saved so much. She's doing a little bit more of the saving, or she's just a stronger person, which is fantastic. I've got daughters, and I watch Beauty and the Beast. I'm like, come on, pick yourself up. You can do this.
Exactly. They need updating.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the classic is Sleeping Beauty. I think she sleeps the whole way through the story, doesn't she?
Exactly.
I mean, how much more passive can you be?
Exactly.
Ridiculous.
It is.
So maybe rewriting Sleeping Beauty.
That sounds good.
Actually, you probably could.
Yeah.
You could rewrite it and make her, I don't know. I'm thinking off the top of my head. You could make it very 21st century, though.
You could.
Kick-ass woman.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds brilliant. Cool. So where can we find you online and keep up with everything that you're writing and see all your links to your pre-orders and stuff?
You can find me at kateokeefe.com. So pretty easy. Just there are 2 F's in O'Keefe. Most people leave out one of the F's. There are 2 Kate O'Keefes out there. One of them is a CNN reporter, I think. So it's not her. She makes comments on climate change and the situation in the Middle East, and I don't make comments on those at all.
No.
So I'm the other one.
With the gorgeous covers, I just have to say again, gorgeous covers. Oh, that was awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Kate. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you for having me, Sarah. It's been fun.
Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Jump onto my website, sarahwilliamsauthor.com, and join my mailing list to receive a free preview of my books and lots of other inspiration. If you like the show and want it to continue, you can become a sponsor for just a couple of dollars a month. Go to patreon.com/sarahwilliamsauthor. And remember to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and leave a review of the podcast. I'll be back next week with another Loved Up episode. Bye!